Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farah. Now, across Central and Eastern Europe, social change is reshaping the place of religion in public life. Secularization is advancing while migration and religious diversity are becoming more visible, raising questions about social cohesion, interreligious contact, and the role of religious symbols in public institutions. We discuss these developments and what that means and the implications for Poland and Europe with our guest, Michał Kłosowski, journalist and author with Catholic Voices. Good to have you on TVP World. Welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
So, a broad topic. I want to start with right here in Poland, secularization. Apparently, if we look at some of the reports, people identifying as Catholic has declined. If we're looking at numbers in 2011, 88%, that's down in 2021 to 71%. How does this broader trend of declining Catholic association impact secularization, everything with religion here in this country?
Well, secularization is a very broad topic, and it's not only like a Polish thing right now, not only a European thing, but recently I was in India for a week, more or less, and when I spoke with those, people responsible there for many things, administration, politics, they said that secularization is there as well. So that's a very broad global issue. In Poland, we all know that that's the fastest secularization country in Europe, of course, but still we need to remember that the Polish type of secularization is a little bit different than in the Western Europe, because, Poland as a country was born when our first prince, Mieszko, was baptized. So Christianity is rooted very deeply in our culture and our kind of like consciousness, social consciousness. But yes, that's true. Secularization is a huge issue, especially among young generation. And there's many reasons for that. But still, when you go out and see, for example, Krakowskie Przedmieścia, you will see a lot of, Christmas decorations, Christmas carols being played, etc., etc. So we can say that there is a secularization in the meaning that the institution of the church is less and less popular, especially among young generation. But still, Christian culture is here to stay.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, you said that, I wanted to ask very briefly, why, as you said, this trend of accelerating secularization, why is it so fast here in Poland more than other countries? I mean, is Poland an outlier in that? And just give me one reason why that is.
There is plenty of reasons. First of all, technology. Social media culture, the spread of culture of laïcité, let's call it from French. That's the biggest trend right now. And you can see it in many, many different surveys and reports. So the change in the culture, because of the social media and technology, is possibly the most important reason for the fast secularization here in Poland.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think, as you mentioned earlier, the Christmas decorations, the symbolism, that has that Catholic, rather Christian tradition, that's here. But that's not just here in Poland. But let's scale out to Europe, because I think if we look at religious objects, if we're looking at that in institutions around the country, there is no real one law, one rule of that in Europe. If we look at France, for instance, very different, very secular country. If we look at Poland, it's different. So how does that also impact how we view religion, not just from the day-to-day, but also in institutions?
Mm-hmm. I'm living between Rome, Italy, and Warsaw, Poland. So what I can see that in Poland, for example, the institution of the church is still very solid. It's very powerful. Also in the meaning of being very helpful to those who are in need. We have Caritas, we have a lot of Catholic NGOs, etc., etc. And a lot of people are involved in that. In France, for example, there is laïcité, but also there are some surveys, there are some research being made, some reports, which are saying that, the number of people being baptized in France is skyrocketing. And that's also another part of this very broad image. In Italy, for example, very similar to Poland, Christianity is a part of the culture, very deeply rooted in how people think, act, and feel being, together. So basically, still in Europe, church is very powerful, is very solid, has a lot of energy, and in some countries which for many years were very secularized, as France, Italy, there is kind of like a renaissance of the religion. And it can be seen in the numbers. It's not only like, narrative. There are numbers saying that there is a lot of converts from different religions to Christianity in France. There is a lot of adults being baptized right now, and the number is skyrocketing. So there is secularization of young generation here in Poland. But in the Western Europe, there is this spark of renaissance of Christianity as well.
Okay. So let's also throw in another major topic here, which is migration, because clearly, I mean, Poland has also seen more and more migration here, especially if we compare it to Western Europe. Obviously, there's more migration there as well. Often that brings different backgrounds, different religions. That has caused, I think, some controversy as well in terms of where the state should be, what symbols to accept, what not to accept. So in your mind, where is that headed in the future? Because, I mean, migration and different backgrounds, that's a big topic, but give us your take on that.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge topic, and we need to remember that Jesus himself, he was born in displaced family. Maria and Joseph, they were sent to Egypt. Of course, they were back, but still, it was a displaced family. So migration is also a part of, the Christian narration. And for me, Poland is a very good example of strange mixture of solidarity and security, because after the Russian aggression, invasion in Ukraine, we welcomed like 2 million Ukrainians, and there are no refugee camps in Poland. Most of them were welcomed to Polish houses. So that's that's the core idea of solidarity, which is the core idea of Catholic social science, how to be a Christian in the public sphere. But also, you mentioned that migration will change the landscape, social landscape of Poland. Yes, of course, it will. It will, but on a different way, I would say that
some people might not like that, right?
Yes, no, because, for many friends of mine from Brazil, from India, for example, from Ukraine as well, the Christian values are important. And that's also it's kind of the change we are observing right now. There is this kind of start of idea of Christianity without the church. And that's, I would say, something which will be very important in the future. Because Christian values, solidarity, being helpful, etc., are very important not only for Christians and Catholics, but also for migrants from different countries who are coming to Poland. And I would say that will be the change which will be here in the next 10, 15 years. There will be much more people from different cultures, different languages, but Christianity will be here as well. Just remember Poland before the Second World War. It was multicultural, it was multilingual. The kind of monolith society was invented by communists. So I would say that in the next 10, 15 years, Poland will be still Catholic, still Christian, a little bit more diverse as well.
All right. And if we look, though, I mean, when I listen to you, it's interesting because you've put it in a way that you see a resurgence of more Christian, let's not just say the rhetoric, but also people coming back to the church or joining the church or being Christian. There's different denominations. But then at the same time, if we look at countries like Germany, for instance, there's a decline of people leaving the church. There's this church tax, they want to pay it. Secularism is up. So do you see that as also a factor here, or is it different countries that have more of a rising association with Christianity, or where do you place all these countries in Europe?
Well, definitely comparing Poland to Germany, it's not a mistake, but we are living in different circumstances, because the church in Germany was for many years under the kind of like a pressure of Reformation since 16th, 17th century. Poland, no. Especially right now, after the era of John Paul II, after many scandals the Polish church went through, obviously there will be differences between the state we are seeing right now and the church in the next 10, 15 years. But I would say that, we here in Poland, we are still rooted in Christianity somehow because of our culture. Even those who are coming here from UK, France, who are normally living abroad, I mean Poles, there are still value Christianity and our way how to spend time with family during the Christmas. Okay, so I would say that Polish culture, because it's rooted in Christianity and Catholicism, will remain Catholic, and that's why Poland will remain Catholic in the future. It will be different church, of course. You mentioned financial issues. In Germany, there is a tax, religion tax. In Poland, no. I would say that's also Polish future, that there will be tax for those who want to go to the church. But still, in minds of many people, there is a problem with the institution of the church, not with the religion itself. And that's what we are seeing right now. The declining number of people going to the church, it's here, and we can see it. But still, there are people who are non-believing, of course, because there is secularization. But still, Christian values and religion is very important for the Polish culture. And if we are thinking about the future of Poland next 10, 15 years in migration, possibly there will be a lot of different people from different countries, cultures, languages, and it's wonderful because it's going to be like it was before the war, the Second World War. But still, the church is powerful, not because it has money or she has, I don't know, like many churches, buildings. It was, even before the Second World War, powerful because of the people who were Christians and Catholics. And there is plenty of them in Polish history. And I think that that's how it will be in the future. It will be much more like it was before the war than during the communist era.
All right. Well, it's interesting because with the survey, right, I know we're coming towards the end, but with secularization actually very much increasing, it's interesting you say that. So presence of the church or presence of Christianity in Poland, but at the same time increased secularization. So
yeah, and for me it's nothing contradictory. It is possible, because that's how it is in Poland many times. The institution can go down in numbers, open churches, money, etc., etc. But still, there will be people who will be just believing in the gospel, and that's how it is in Italy, for example. You cannot distance the church and the gospel values from the Italian culture. It's combined, even if the church is going down with the numbers, taxes, money, and people going to the church.
Okay.
That's difficult to understand, but that's Poland.
All right. So a really interesting discussion there about how all this fits together, religion and migration and symbolism. So really interesting stuff. So thank you so much for coming and sharing all that.
Thank you.
So our guest here, Michał Kłosowski, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on World Talks, but stay tuned right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.